they could see the synergy between the machines and the man. They could see these connections. The man needs the machine to achieve something, or the machine is going to help, you know, the man to do something. The idea behind it was after the first meeting we had with JCB and the business, we had the opportunity to visit the internal museum, and I learned a few things about the life of JCBs and the machines and everything. And straight away I understood that for me there is one thing very important, is this connection between the man and the machine. You can see, you know, why they are so strong and so efficient. The man is going to mimic some of the attributes that the machines can do. We started with only the machines. So after I wrote the sequences, we worked with Ben about the music.
Whilst Forrest's background is parkour, we noticed that he very quickly learnt how to get the best out of the machinery, the street dancers and the parkour, and ultimately fulfilled the brief of keeping the JCB machines the focus of the piece.
As soon as that the choreography with the machines been done, I would say that it was quite easier, because you have like the full picture. So yeah, this was the first part, and the second part was to bring over the parkour guys. But the parkour guys, I would say that for me it is the easiest. We don't work on the beat, we work on the timing. Let's say we have 22 seconds to make this sequence happen. Now let's work out how in 22 seconds we can go to there to there. That's it.
There's been quite a steep learning curve trying to get used to sort of new surfaces. A lot of the times some of the panels are made of metal, some of them are made of plastic, so it's trying to work out which bits of the machine that are stable enough for you to jump on. Forrest has got an awesome approach because he knows all of the guys in our team. He'll know what's going on elsewhere in the show, so he's going to suggest things which will fit in really well with what else is going around. But he's also really happy to take your ideas on board and for you to shape some of the movements yourself. So it makes it much easier and much more interesting because you're not just doing what someone else is telling you. So you get to sort of think about the creative process rather than just acting it out.
The more ideas and the more people get involved into the process, people wanted to be even more involved, and they started, you know, some of the guys, you know, from the drivers, they provided some cool ideas. You know, for example, the cheeky monkey. You know, he started with Matt. He talked to me about maybe the idea of showing like a cheeky monkey showing the back door. You know.
Christian and Pete both have a little sequence where they're coming across on one digger and they've got to jump across to the next one, and that's an unusual challenge because obviously normally in parkour there aren't that many moving surfaces, they're all stable walls, railings or whatever, so to have something you're on moving, so you've got to not just gauge the jump but gauge how the jump's going to change as you're drifting through the arena. It's probably one of the more novel challenges.
I found working with the parkour guys very inspiring because it's something that I've never trained in, and they have just a different way about them, which is really nice to work with. The differences between working in Birmingham or Paris is that being outside is a lot harder for us as dancers because of cooling down so quickly, and also dancing on the concrete is pretty tough. The lads make it look easy.
Two things that are going to affect us, especially being an outdoor performance, are the possibility of rain, everything being wet, and also just a very windy performance. After the last rehearsal, we went around drenching all the jumps, because if it does rain, we're not going to have a chance during the days to get used to that now. So it's making sure that the jumps are doable, and if they're not, that we've got a suitable alternative that's going to keep the show together.
Yeah, it takes a bit. It takes a few takes, but at the end of the day, it works very, very well.
I've found the whole experience massively enjoyable so far. Yeah, I mean, what kid doesn't want to go around jumping around on diggers?
I definitely would love to do it all again, definitely. Working with the guys, working with Forrest, would definitely love for the opportunity to do it all again.
For drivers, they started to trust my team and to trust me really well. So this is why it's a very, very interesting process. And if I have to start again, I will do with pleasure.